morning, my amazing, wonderful, most accomplished listener. I hope you've just woken up from a restful and rejuvenating sleep and you're ready to just kick today in the butt. Today we're going to be talking about something that I've suffered for a long time now, and that is from imposter syndrome. I feel like only just recently have I realized how hard it can be when you suffer from it, but also that there are so many ways out there to overcome any of those emotions that you're feeling when you just feel like you're not good enough and you don't deserve to be where you are today. So I thought we would just cover that off today, and hopefully you can come back and listen to this episode whenever you're feeling a little bit low or anything like that. But of course, before we get started, I just have to remind you that I put new episodes out every single week to wake you up with a great morning. So if you don't want to miss out, you can subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts, on YouTube, and you can follow me on Instagram for all the behind the scenes content. And now, one way that we can really fight back at imposter syndrome is by doing some gratitude. So of course, we have to start with thinking of 3 things that we're grateful for today. I would really encourage you today, when you're thinking about your 3 things, to think of 3 things that you like about yourself, that you're grateful for about yourself, maybe some small accomplishment that you've had this week or in the past few weeks that you just want to look back on and smile and remind yourself about how awesome of a person you are. But of course, I will go first, and in true fashion, I am really grateful for my fitness. I did a workout this morning which involved doing like push-ups, and I did more push-ups on my toes than I've ever done in my life, and I just know that means that my chest and my arms are getting stronger, and that just makes me so happy because I know that I'm working towards something and I've accomplished that. And yeah, I mean, I'm sure there are millions of people out there who can do far more push-ups than I can, but I'm still proud of myself for getting as far as I did. The second thing I'm grateful for is that I actually had a pretty productive week this week, although it was holidays for uni, so we don't have lectures at the moment. I actually have a lot of assignments due and things, which has been a bit stressful, but I smashed them out. I had a really productive after Easter. I worked for a couple days. I did take a day off to go look at some glowworms in Waipu, which was also really fun, and probably the third thing I'm grateful for being that trip, because that was so much fun and there were so many glowworms. But apart from that day, I had heaps done at work. I got heaps of my uni work done. I've just got this one reading to finish tonight, and then I can take another rest day tomorrow, and I am very excited about that, and I'm feeling pretty good. So those are my 3 things, and now it is your turn. You can listen to this fun, groovy music, and yeah. Awesome, so now that you have your 3 things, hopefully you're feeling a little more amped and you've just celebrated some of your small wins, because that is the first thing we do when we're feeling like we're not good enough, and that is to celebrate those small wins, like me doing, more push-ups than normal. I mean, I didn't do that many and I couldn't do them all on my toes yet, but I know I'm getting stronger and I can feel myself getting stronger, and that's a win. Doesn't really matter what anyone else thinks or what anyone else can do. I know I accomplished that and I deserve to accomplish that. So just reminding yourself of those small wins can be really helpful. But before we continue on with the other tips and tricks I have, and hopefully I can really motivate you today to feel amazing, I would just like to probably give a brief overview of what imposter syndrome is and how it can manifest in people, like based on my own experiences. So imposter syndrome is essentially that feeling that you are where you are because of like natural ability or because of luck, or like you didn't really earn your place in the world, or you didn't actually earn those grades, something happened along the way where you just got lucky, or you tricked someone into thinking you were better than you were, or something like that. And most of the time, 95% of the time, those thoughts are without reason. Like, you worked really hard, and you worked really hard to get where you are, and you earned those positions or grades or whatever it is. But there's just something in your brain that's like, no, I don't deserve to be here. And that negative thought pen just continues on, and it can be really detrimental. It can be really heartbreaking because you're like, well, I'm in where I want to be. I've got my dream job. I've got amazing grades or whatever, but you don't feel like you earned it, and then you don't really get the satisfaction from having all those dreams come true. So it can be really detrimental, and it's obviously something that we want to try and limit as much as possible, but also in some ways you kind of have to embrace it a little bit, because you have to know that these thoughts are not just going to disappear overnight, and it's something you have to work on and keep training yourself to believe in yourself again and actually celebrate your own achievements. At the end of the day, someone is always going to be better than you, but that doesn't mean that your accomplishments aren't worth as much. You still worked for them, you still worked really hard, and I know that you did. I know that you persevered and you were determined, and you pushed through all the mental and physical barriers that you had to get through to get that accomplishment, and therefore you deserve to feel amazing, and you deserve to celebrate those small wins. It doesn't matter what anyone else is doing. Which is obviously easier said than done, especially with social media today, and hence why I'm not telling you how many push-ups I can do on my toes, because at the end of the day you'll just compare it, and I don't really feel like I need to compare to anyone else. I know I'm better than I was a month ago, and that's all that matters. So I think really just embracing the fact that someone else will always be better than you, but also knowing that you have still worked just as hard and you're still moving in the right direction is really important to acknowledge yourself. The next thing is that you should really accept the fact that you've actually worked hard to be where you are. For me, my imposter syndrome really strikes when I guess I'm one of those kids who'd always been quite smart in school, and it just kind of felt like I had like a natural ability for like academics and reading and writing and that kind of like university assignments and exams and things. But the truth is I still do work really hard. So when I got my dream job, like as an internship last year, about this time last year to be fair, I kind of was like, oh, like I worked really hard to get it, but because all my friends knew I was quite smart, they were telling me, oh, like, of course you're going to get it. Like, you don't even need to work that hard. But like, I felt like I'd worked really hard, and that didn't really help. But it kind of meant that when I did get it, I was like, oh, I only got it because I'm naturally gifted, or because I, got lucky or anything like that. And I just know that's not true. Like, if it was only luck that played a role in that job interview, I would not have got the job, right? Like, I must have shown them something. I did so much practice. I like rewrote my CV 4 million times. I spent so long on application forms and things. And it's one of those things where, yes, I only got one offer. Like, maybe I could have got more. Maybe I could have done something else or anything, but I still got that job. I still worked really hard, and I achieved what I set out to achieve, and I had an amazing summer internship. So I just think that accepting that you worked hard to be where you are today, and you therefore deserve all those accomplishments that you've achieved, everything you've worked hard to achieve, you deserve. And I think it's really important to remember that. It's definitely hard, like I say, when you're someone who's kind of more naturally gifted and people have those higher expectations of you, you're always going to put high expectations on yourself as well. That's kind of only natural and, the way you've grown up basically. But I think it's really important to remember that you don't need to put those high expectations on yourself. You should be setting realistic goals and achieving those realistic goals, and therefore feeling accomplished. And then you know that you worked really hard to get those goals. But yeah, it's something that so many people suffer with. It's just one of those things that you have to keep working on. Every time you catch yourself thinking, oh, I'm not good enough, or oh, I can't do this, or I don't deserve this, or something, remind yourself, no, these are the 3 things I did to get where I am today, or more, but at least 3 things that I did to get here today. And I worked really hard at those 3 things, and therefore I deserve to be here. And my place, my position, my role, my job, my grades, whatever, I deserve those things. Another really good way is to talk to someone like your parents. Parents, okay, I probably shouldn't say all parents, because not everyone is in the same situation as I am, and I have really a lovely, amazing parents. But if you talk to your parents and you're like, Mum, Dad, I just don't feel good enough, I don't feel like I worked really hard, your parents are going to be the ones that are going to hype you up the most, right? Like, they love you and they are just like, no, you did this and this, and they'll remind you of all those things, all those sleepless nights you had when you stayed up all night working on your assignment or preparing for your big presentation. And they're the ones who kind of have that outside perspective but are still biased, so you know that they're going to say nice things about you. And sometimes having someone else remind you of those little things can make a huge difference. And then you're like, oh yeah, I forgot that I also did this other thing. And oh yeah, I forgot that I actually reached out to someone at this firm and was quite proactive in searching for this job, and these things like that. Because it can be quite easy to focus on the negatives and the things that you didn't do, rather than all the things that you did do and how hard you really did work to get where you are today. And if you really have no one else that you can go and talk to, you can always message me. I love hearing from my listeners, and I'm always happy to give you a hype up, as I'll do right now. Even though I don't know who you are and I don't know who is listening to this, but I want you to know that you are incredible. You've worked really hard. The fact that you're even just listening to this episode shows that you are so capable of overcoming these negative thought patterns and actually feeling amazing about yourself, celebrating your own achievements. And it's going to take time, but you are 100% capable, and you have worked really hard to be where you are today. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of a pep talk to start your morning, and you're feeling a little bit more refreshed and awake and just ready to start your day. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast and on YouTube. And of course, don't forget to put a smile on your dial and have a great morning.